Alrighty. Gotta wait for some people to join first. They don't even know I'm doing this. I always bang this thing. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay. Hello, hello. All right, we're doing haircuts. Doing a men's haircut today.
You have enough room?
Yep, you're all good. You just hang out.
So the real question, does the beard go in the cape or outside the cape?
That's a good question. Maybe take it out of the cape so we can see it for all of its glory.
There's the beard.
How's the sound?
It's like it separates it right there.
Can you guys all hear me okay? Is the sound okay? I have a different microphone, so is it too loud? Okay. Let's see. Let me grab my comb. Yeah. We're going to kind of spin you there too, so. Okay. What? Sorry. Sorry. Okay, good. That's good. All right, so we're doing a haircut today. We're doing men's haircut. Just so we're going to do kind of a big change. We're taking off a lot of length. We're going to do kind of a short haircut for a man, not clippers though, just short men's. So, you want to take your glasses off?
Yeah. I was thinking that would be important.
Yeah, you want me to put them up?
Oh, sure, please.
To not sit in your pocket. All right. So, this guy's got awesome hair. He's got a lot of texture and curl to his hair. So we don't want to like completely chop it off. But he hasn't had a haircut in a year, so we need definitely to do some styling. Flex your skill and cut with the glasses on. Yeah, and we'll put on a mask and all the things. Yeah. I don't want him to see this. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So let me move this lighting back just a touch here. Okay, so we're just going to get it wet first, comb and dampen at the same time. We want it to be evenly saturated. Put you down. Even saturation is going to give us the same tension all the way around. And look at this nice wave. So good. This man has some good hair. Nice and thick.
Good hits.
Yeah. So we're nice and even. So again, for anyone that just joined, we're doing a men's short haircut. We're going to kind of, he likes to, have some length on the top, but he wants it cleaned up around the ears and the neckline. And, something that is manageable at home without a ton of styling. He's not really someone that's going to be gelling it up every day, so.
I might though.
He might be feeling something special and extra after this. That he might feel like he needs to be fancy. They're both getting haircuts, so him and his wife, and they're going to be feeling fancy after this.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so we got that pretty wet. Let me grab my shears here. Let's see. Okay. So starting in the center back, I'm just going to section this into 3 sections. So I'm going to do a center part on top, and then just section it right behind the ear there. And we're just going to section it right here. Sorry, not behind the ear, right in front of the ear, right where that ear connects, because that's where the hair is naturally going to lay. So this hair naturally kind of falls behind the ear, and this hair sits forward. So we'll put it right where it's naturally going to sit. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing with on the other side, going from the top of the head to where the ear connects here. I'm going to start in the center back. And we're going to layer it all, so I don't have to pin it up. I don't tend to like to pin, men's hair up as much as I, unless I'm doing something very detailed and I need it to be like a gentleman's cut where I need it to be like out of the way. But I tend to like to keep the clips to the women's haircuts. So we're tilting his head down just so we have this nice flat surface here. Starting the center back, I'm just going to grab a small section as my guide, just right here at the nape of the neck, just a little bit less than that. And I'm going to just start there. And now I'm going to work my way from the center out to each side. I'm using my hand as a reflection of the angle that I'm cutting at of the section, and we're just going to cut straight across here. And I'm not too worried about being super perfect right here because I am going to go back with the trimmers and clean up his neckline afterwards. So we're just going to cut right over to the other side. Taking that length off here. And then I'm going to continue from the center going out to the right side here. I'm using my thumb to move the cutting blade, not going past my second knuckle in order to maintain even tension. The tension is tighter in between these, right before the second knuckle, and after you get past the second knuckle it loosens up, so you want to maintain the same amount of tension. And working center out to cut that length in half. Now I'm just going to kind of visually gauge it and see if we're looking even, maybe take a little bit more on this side. But like I said, we will come up and clean all this up, so it's not going to be, critical if it's not perfect. So now, and this is the part that I think is the trickiest part about these haircuts, is how do I get it around the ear so I'm not having like a line that goes back this way and cut into the hairline. So I want to come up, starting where I made that point, or that part right here, and I'm just going to connect. I'm going to go a little longer than I actually want to go. I'm just going to kind of take off some of this length right here. So I'm not going too far back because I want to get this hair out of the way so I can see what I'm doing before I start cutting it closer. And I'm just going to bring it around and just angle my fingers up. I'm not over directing, just straight down and just cutting off that length. And this is just going to take some of this length off so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Okay, so now our goal is to be above the ear, but for right now we're just going to kind of leave that there, and I'm going to start cutting this length in the front. So, starting in the center front, I'm going to create a guide of how long we want his hair. So he wants his hair not to be in his eyes, but we still want like enough hair that he can style. And he does have curl to his hair, a lot of curl, so we don't want to like cut it too short or it's going to be super curly. So I'm thinking like bridge of the nose to start, and then it will probably curl up a little bit. So I'm going to pull my section down, and then I'm going to release that tension because I don't want to have a lot of tension on the bangs area because there's cowlicks in the front and they can just shoot up like crazy style, and you don't want crazy style bangs as far as I know. So we're going to release that tension and then create our guide right there. And now we're going to connect this front guide to the hair on this side. So let me scoot it a little bit more here. So I've got my guide. Make sure you always have your guides in view where you're going. So I'm creating an angle like this, and I'm just going to start from the front and just bring this forward and just connecting the dots. Okay, so now he's got like a little Dutch boy haircut, but he doesn't want to have a little Dutch boy haircut. He wants to go clean around those ears. So now I can kind of see where I'm going. I've kind of removed some of that extra hair, so now I can kind of see what's going on here. So I'm gonna take a very small section in front of this ear, so just like this, and I'm gonna cut this. Try not to. I don't want to cut too much into his beard. I'm just gonna cut this right here at the right where his like ear connects, pretty close. And I can clean this up again with the trimmer afterwards. Taking a little bit of this little corner off right here. Okay, so now that's about the length. And I'm going to go around the ear. So what I want to do with this hair is I want to be careful not to cut too much of this straight this way, because otherwise it's going to create like a weird layer, or like a missing, like a big chunk missing out, coming out. So I want to go around the ear. So I'm going to take this hair and I'm going to over direct it and angle it towards his face, and then cut up from there. That's going to give me a little bit more hair, so it's going to lay nice around that ear, if you can see that. And otherwise it's going to, you know, if you don't over direct it and kind of bring that angle forward, you're going to start getting like those chopped lines. So now that's going to lay nice around the ear. And I can clean that up more with the trimmers. After we layer it, it'll be a lot lighter, and we'll be able to get around his ear a little easier. So now I'm going to go and just take off some of this weight behind the ear, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to angle it towards the face, for over direction, and then that's going to sit more nice behind that ear, and that won't take so much of this off. And it's always going to look a little strange at first, but we're going to layer it and we're going to take a lot of that weight off, and it'll look good afterwards. So now I'm going to, sorry about this lighting situation. So now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to angle this up towards the ears to take away some of that weight. So I'm just, again, over directing towards the face. And if in doubt, always over direct it more than you think. Okay, now I've got that length right here, and I've got my length from the front here. Now I'm just going to connect this length to the ear. So let me move them a little more here. Okay, so we're going, got my guides in view here so that I know my point of origin and my point of destination, and I'm just going to work my way down. Okay, and then again, I can take this more straight across, the part that's all in front of the ear. I can take that a little more straight across and take this weight out here. And then with this part that can tuck behind the ear, I want to over direct it forward. So I'm going to do like a C shape and bring it this way towards his face before I cut it. Towards his face in a C shape. Okay, then I'm going to check in the front, and I'm going to look for, make sure I'm balanced on both sides. Looks like it's pretty good. He has a lot of curl in his hair. We've already seen it starting to jump, which is a good thing. You know, good thing we didn't go too short. Just going to check to make sure we're about even, and it looks pretty good. So now that I've got the perimeter cut, I'm going to layer it. Let's see, is there, sorry if I don't see your questions. I am doing a haircut. Okay, so let's see, what's the best view for this? Maybe here. I'm going to go on the other side. Wow. So I'm going to start this way. Okay. Can we all see this here? Okay, I'm going to wet it down a little bit more, just because it's going to give me a nicer sections, clean sections. They're super important when we're cutting hair. We want to have a nice, work in a nice organized manner and maintain really nice organized sections. Okay, so now, first thing I'm going to do is get my top guide. So I've got my guide here in the front, and I need to get a guide here at the top. So depending on how short we're going, I want to look at the bend of this hair. So if you can see, the hair bends about here. So I always want to cut it. Let me get a bigger section so you can see. So when I pull it down, you can see that there's the bend of the hair right here. So in order for this knot to stick straight up, I have to cut it longer than this bend right here. And that's a little shorter than we want to go. So we're okay. We don't have to worry too much about how short this piece is, because as long as it's longer than that bend, we're good. So we got the hair in the front. We're going to take this about the same length, maybe out here. So I'm past that bend. I'm all good. I'm going to take a little section here, and that's going to be my guide on top. Now I'm going to connect the two by, let me have you tilt your head down here. So I'm going to just take a little bit of hair on either side of that center part and create this top guide. So I'm working short to long so that my guide is always in view. So since this guide is shorter than the one on top, I'm going to stand on this side so that I'm cutting from short to long. That way my guide is above my fingers and I'm not trying to go below them. So let's see. Right. Okay. Put your head straight up a little more. Right, thank you. All right. So I've got my guide in view. Here's my top guide, or my front guide here. And I'm just going to cut this section to my back guide. All right, so now I've got my top guide, and now I'm going to layer it. So I'm going to split this guide in half, take a little bit of a section on either side, and I'm just going to work in sections that are no larger than the width of my comb, because I don't want a lot of over direction. So I'm going to start in the front, and I'm going to direct this straight up, because I want to make sure that this design line drops out in order to not create a hole. So I want to make sure that there's hair coverage, especially around like the recession area. You want to make sure that you have hair dropping out so that you don't accidentally cut a hole in there. So I'm just going to start layering this. It's 90 degrees, taking half of that section, moving it out of the way, and then working on the section right behind it, no wider than the width of my comb for no over direction. And then we're just letting that design line drop out and then cutting it. And I'm going to spin them around so you guys get a little closer view now. Going for a ride today. Okay, so now I'm working on my next section here, taking half of this first section, combing it out of the way. And then now I'm going to start actually working my way in more of a rounded shape around the head once I get past this recession area. So when my elbow is more up, I'm maintaining weight at the bottom, and as my elbow drops, I'm removing weight. So now that we're past this recession area, I'm going to start, like I said, working it down, removing weight. So I go straight up at the top. Let's see, can you see this? Straight up on top. And then I'm working, following the head shape around. So then I'm going straight out here. This is 90 degrees. And then I'm going straight out here. And now I'm just going to work my way around the head in the same manner, just kind of working a wagon wheel section all the way around the head. And I can kind of do this a little bit faster. If anybody has any questions, let me know. The song in the background, if you want to know about that, that's Hunter live. He likes just to have a constant monologue going.
He's going to be a singer when he grows up.
He's what? He's going to be a singer, or yeah. Nah. So now I'm following the head shape around, and I'm, kind of going, bringing my fingers, tilting kind of down. We're going to try to taper this a little bit, so we're tilting down towards the nape of the neck. and I'll come back and kind of clean this up on my way back around. Okay, so just continuing to work around the head, making sure that I always have my guide in view. This is a lot of like the area where I think people lose their guide is right around this area of the head. So we always want to make sure that we have it. If you don't see your guide, pick it up and start again. And find it before you start cutting. Don't just cut blindly. Always have an idea of where you're going. So again, working around with the shape of the head. Bring it down towards the nape of the neck. And I don't have to worry about taking too much weight here because we're going to come back for that. Okay. Turn this away a little bit. Okay. Keeping with the same momentum, I'm going to... Whoa! Get this a little more wet. That way I can have nice clean sections, and even saturation will be good for even tension. So now combing those sections out of the way. Starting at the top of the head. I'm only holding as much hair in my hands that I can easily control, not trying to grab too big of a section, and just working again around, following the head shape down. And I can see my previous cut section through this section, so it's not too thick of a section. And then I have some idea of where I'm going and what to follow here. Okay, and we'll keep going around here. How do you do around the ears? Well, I will show you. We just did around the ears. So the ears are always the hardest part because you always have like this over direction that happens that you really have to be careful about. So when you go around the ears, you have to, I always, only cut from, oh, you can't even see that. I only cut from where the ear connects forward. I can cut that straight, but anything from where the ear connects back, I have to do like a C shape around the ears and bring it over directed this way, or else you're going to get cut marks that go this way. So you have to over direct this forward in order for it just to lay nice and not look like it's hacked up. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Okay. All right, so now we're continuing to work around the head shape here. Going. Make sure I got nice clean sections. Just pulling it straight out 90 degrees from the head shape. And I always have a guide in view. I can see my previous guide. I don't know if you can see that, but its previous guide is right there behind my section. That's why I'm overlapping sections, so I can work with that guide in view. And then, I want to tilt their head down so that I'm not straining my back I don't want to be like upside down trying to cut his hair. He's only got to be here for 20 minutes, right? I'm here for 8 hours, so I got to make sure that my posture and what I'm doing is not too straining for me. All right, half of that section, and then continuing to work around the head shape. So, here we go. Any more? Let me see if we got any more questions here. Will you be trimming the beard? No, the beard is staying. We might polish it a little bit, but I am planning to do a beard video. My boyfriend's got a beard that's kind of getting big, so we're gonna do a video. Maybe we'll do that today. We'll see how it goes with timing. Okay. So again, just working, organized. And I'm always going in the same direction. I'm not, I'm cutting downhill because I'm following the flow of where the hair is naturally going to sit. I'm not cutting uphill because cutting downhill, you're pushing the hair down and preserving weight. Where you're cutting uphill, you're removing more hair than maybe we want to. And where I'm going to check it in the opposite direction, going uphill. So again, just following this head shape around. And keeping it going. Let's see. Go back to the. So guys, if you have any other questions, let me know. Chuck, I'm writing a song, and I need you to make some music. Can you do music out of, like you're one of those people that you can just hear something and like make up a song, or do you play songs that are already made?
Both.
So maybe you can help me.
Yeah, sure.
So I've got the lyrics started. So
Okay.
he's like, great, not another one of these things. Chuck is a very musical person. He likes to help me with my musical adventures that I go on. I'm not a singer by any means, but he's a very talented musician. So he's someone to keep handy. He's got a whole setup. I wish my wife could cut my hair. I wish I had a wife. She could do my laundry, cut my hair, all the things. Okay, so now that we've finished doing the layers, I'm just going to check the top, and I'm just going to check it by standing here and at the crown of the head. I'm just going to look, just taking sections. And what I'm looking for is symmetry. Oops. Let's see. So I want it to be symmetrical on both sides. So I want to make sure that one side isn't longer than the other, so I'm holding this straight up. You can see that. It looks pretty symmetrical, and since I followed the head shape, my shape should be kind of like a half circle going down. If I was going to preserve weight at the bottom, it should look like a V going up, but it should be symmetrical, whatever shape that is. So now I'm going to just sneak behind here, and I'm just going to check it the other way. So let me go. So now I'm just going to, starting in the front, I'm just going to kind of bring each section out. I'm just looking to see if any hair was skipped. Like there's maybe a little point right here. I don't know if you can even see that, but that was skipped. And I'm going to start working my way back around and start taking out some of this bulk at the bottom, because that's going to be a lot easier for me to get going this way. So this is just kind of a quick check, just looking for like little peaks and valleys. So I've seen that I have a little bit of extra weight right here, if you can see that. So I'm just going to take that off and just following up to where I cut it, making sure that I don't have any long pieces that don't belong. Going right behind this ear, and this is where I'm going to take off. See, there's like some more weight down here where I didn't quite get, so I'm taking off this little bits. I'm just checking to make sure it's even all the way around. Looks pretty good. And again, we're going to take a little more back here, because he's got pretty thick hair down here, so we don't want to be too short, right? I mean, we still want some hair. And at this point, I'm just kind of, I don't necessarily have a guide right here behind this ear since it's the first section, but I'm just kind of using my best judgment on how long I want to take it. And then after I cut that first section, now I can use that first section and follow it in the remaining sections. Let me put my chair down a little bit since it's getting high up. Hopefully that's okay on your back, all the moving. So now I'm kind of in this section, and I can see my previous section there in my hands, right underneath my fingers, and then just working uphill and removing that weight. Over here. Again, seeing getting my section nice and clear there. And usually when you have a weight line, it means you have a corner somewhere that you need to cut off. So if you ever have like if you're doing clipper cuts or something and you see like, wow, there's still this weight line, when you pull the hair up, you should be able to pull it to a certain height where you can see a clear triangle, like a clear corner. And that's what the weight is. And you want to just take that corner off, and then that should solve the problem. Just going right up here. And see, I'm just kind of working towards tapering that closer to the neck in the back. And I'm also going to clean this up with the trimmer around the neckline. So, and this is a little quicker than I did the first time around. And I will go back and check this part too. So still continuing to work my way just around the head shape. I'm always working in an organized manner. I'm not going from this side to this side to skip, you know, back and forth. I'm doing a section, completing it, moving on to the next section, and working, you know, with my previous section in view. All right. There we go. If anybody has any other questions, nobody ever comments on these things. They're just here to watch. Okay, so now I'm going around this ear again, so I got to make sure that I'm not taking too much off. That I don't want to leave this ear like this exposed. So we're just kind of making sure we're leaving a little bit of extra length there. And taking off this length on these sides. Make sure we're nice and even all the way up. Okay. So now we've got like a haircut that's starting to, oh, you can't even see. Sorry. I didn't see that. Okay. So now we've got it's layered and it's still kind of funky around the edges because we haven't cleaned it up completely. But I just want to do, you know, I'm going to have my comb vertical, or I'm sorry, horizontal. And I'm just going to kind of go through and just pull up this hair in the opposite direction just to see, make sure it's all fairly evenly cut across the whole thing. I don't want to have like one long section, you know, I want to make sure that, and I'm just doing like a little bit of scissor over comb if I see any little peaks or valleys, you know, just looking for a straight line at this point. It looks pretty good. I'm not going to take any major cutting in this position. If I saw something huge, I would go back to my original cutting position and take it off that way. We're just looking for just maybe a little bit that's uneven or out of whack. So here we go. We're still a little bit more around this ear here. Can you still see? Yeah. All right. So now we got like kind of a nice looking haircut, and what really is going to change this from just being like, you know, a regular haircut to like looking really sleek is going to be the finishing, and that's what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to take my little trimmer here. Get a glass of water. And I'm just going to kind of go around. Let me put my chair up a little bit so we can, I'm not bending over so much. Third floor. That's a joke. Pay extra for the ride.
I paid extra, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to go through and we're going to just finish it. And I'm just going to take my clipper. And when I'm going in the neckline, I want to start going in and just chiseling in my line this way with the trimmer. And don't worry, it's got a guard, you know, so you're not going to cut them. I can even go back and forth this way, and it's not going to cut them. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to chisel out that line going this way. I'm not going to drag it down. I'm just going to create that nice line. And then when I clean up that line, I'm going to turn it over, go the opposite direction, and remove that hair and that weight. So we're going to kind of do a little bit of a rounded shape in the back here. So starting, you know, you don't want to go any further than the neckline. The way to think about it is you don't want to go any higher than the bottom of the ears, because that would be way too high. And you know, you want to always keep it below the bottom of the ears. But I just like to look at the natural fall, because you don't want to cut off too much of that hairline, because that might look kind of weird when it starts growing out. So you want to kind of keep it where it's going to naturally be. So we're just starting here. I'm just going to go in and kind of just make my shape. And just kind of etch it out first. Checking for balance. And just making that nice shape first, and then we're going to come in and go up around the ears. So I like to, use my comb and kind of over direct, push some of this hair forward so that I can get it so there's not like long pieces in here. And then I just kind of go up my comb and take it off. And then I'll come back and etch around where I want this. So I want all this to be removed because I don't want it, he wants, nicer, cleaner cut. I'm first going to kind of remove that weight. Now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to take a little bit of this off. I'm moving the ear out of the way, and I like to comb all this towards the front, maybe even hold it in my comb right here while I go around and just removing that weight right there. Okay, now I'm going to take it around the ear. So I'm going to be careful not to cut into the beard, but I do want to like kind of blend it into his beard so it kind of fades into the beard. Take more of the neck. Oh, here you mean? Yeah, I'll come back. Don't worry. Don't worry, I ain't done yet. People are trying to tell me what to do on here. Okay. So now I'm just going around these ears, pulling the ear down and removing this hair right here. And then I'm going to just kind of take this, taper it in a little bit around the ears. So I'm just going to go in with my comb and just take off some of these little flyaways right here. They're flipping out. And that's just clipper over comb right here. I'm just going to kind of fade it down. This front part here, I want to direct it towards the face. I'm going to move this out of the way because that's not the part that we want to cut right now. Just going to take this, kind of comb it towards his face and take some of that weight off there. And I'm just kind of going around and tidying up when I see like hairs that are flipping out or not going the way I want to. I just cut them off. I want it to be a nice even finish at the end. So now I'm going to look at his beard right here. I'm just going to kind of comb his beard, comb this hair towards the ear, and then just make a nice fresh line right around there. And then I'm going to comb the beard towards the face. And you always want to be careful with the beard because a lot of times it's very coarse hair, but it's sometimes sparse. So you don't want to cut too close into it. You always want to leave a little more length than maybe you think, just because you don't want to create holes in the beard. So there. Now we're kind of just fading that in. And this is it looks like a little bit of a weight line, but it's more of like the curl. We'll go in with the thinning shears and just maybe take a little bit of weight right here, but I don't want to cut a lot of length off there. It's got a little bit of like those curls coming, curl action. Okay, so I'm just continuing to clean up the ear, going around the back, getting all these little hairs. Like this is, I want to comb all these ones that are stuck behind the ear and just take them off. I don't want him to go home and have this like one long piece behind the ear because that's going to drive him nuts. And then he's going to cut it himself, and then he's going to make a big mark in his hair. We all have done it. So we're being real careful to get all these little guys around there. And then he's got this little wing right here. I'm just going to kind of take that down just slightly, just so it doesn't flip out. And then, yeah. And I might even want to go over this back with like a clipper because it is kind of flipping out, and just take just this, like these wings off. See how it like flips? So we might do that too. So here we go. This. Ooh, someone put a bunch of flags. Wow, that's a lot of flags. Represent. I don't know what that is, what country that is, but cool. It's a different country. Okay, so taking that off there. Again, going around the ear, over directing it forward. I'm using my comb as like kind of a ruler, making sure I don't go too far into the hair, and just taking that off right there. And then I'm going to come back around, take this off here, and go around the ear, so I'm moving the ear out of the way and combing all these hairs forward. Just moving all that weight. This is kind of hard to do on this side. 1 second. It's because I'm right-handed, so it's hard for me to do it so you can see, but we're just using my comb and doing clipper over comb and just pushing all this hair towards the ear and then moving the ear out of the way and just moving all this weight. I'm going to go take off this little wing. All that length right there. Gotta go. I don't want to go too high up around the ear because I don't want to give them white walls. I want to, to sit like right on top of that ear. Just kind of taking all this extra, moving it towards, combing it forward towards the face, and then just cleaning up right there. He's got hair that goes all the way down to his ears, so he's got nice thick hair, so that's good. Some people, you got to be careful because they have like these large walls around their ears and you don't want to take too much hair out of there because you don't want it to look like bald. Okay, get that little hair in the ear too. And then again with the beard, I'm going to comb it towards the ear, using my comb as kind of a ruler, and then with this hair around the face, combing it towards the face. I want to move this out of the way because we don't want to cut that off. We do want it a little shorter around his face. We're just going to go towards the face and take that triangle out, and then take some of this weight out. I can see that it's heavy right around the bottom. And it's especially someone with that starts with really long hair and wants a big change. Sometimes you don't know exactly how the hair is going to react, so you start a little longer, and then you can kind of just let the hair tell you what it wants to do as you go. Kind of see what you need to take off. Okay. So just kind of going around and shaping around the ears and looking better. And it looks like sometimes camera work, it's hard to see exactly how it looks. Sometimes it looks a little different on the camera than it does in real life. So I think you can kind of see. Okay.
I can definitely feel the difference.
Yeah, I bet you're cooler, right? Especially under these lights.
The breeze. I can feel the breeze.
We got breezes going back here. Okay, so now I want to just taper this neckline just slightly. So I'm going to get my clipper and just take a longer clipper. I'll probably use like a 6, I just want to just knock that off. It's a little bit too much hair to do with my trimmer. I don't want to remove a lot of bulk with the trimmer. The trimmer isn't for removing bulk. The trimmer is for, just trimming out the little excess. So I'm getting my clipper out here. I'm using the Oster 76. And let's start with a number 6 because I don't ever want to start too short. Okay, let's see where we are. Here we are. Okay. So here we go. I got my clipper here, the Oster 76. Let me plug this in. Okay.
You're gonna be osterized.
You're osterized. That's right.
Yes.
So I'm using my 000 blade, and I'm using the Oster because this is more of a heavy-duty clipper. It's going to easily remove bulk and weight. So I'm turning my Oster on first, inserting the blade onto the tongue of the clipper, and pushing it down. You don't want to put it down without it being turned on, because if right, let me take it off. So if you slam the blade down repeatedly without it being turned on first, then you start to chip the tongue of the clipper right here, and then your blade starts to wobble, and you won't get a good cut with a wobbly blade. So you always want to make sure that the clipper is on and engaged, and then clamp it down so it's already moving. And then I'm using my number 6 guard, just a regular, I think it's Ulster guard, clipping it on the bottom first. So I fit the clip on here and then push it over the blade. Making sure it's secured so it doesn't fly off in the middle of the haircut. And, oh no, we all of a sudden have a 0 on his head. Not good. That's when you start convincing him that he doesn't need hair. Excuse me. Okay. So now I'm not gonna do a big deal with this. I'm just gonna take like just this ridge off right here, that little flip. I'm just gonna go in, just remove a little bit of that. I'm just working from my center over to the ear, and then working from the center over to the ear on this side. Just starting with one section and overlapping it. Okay, so now I've got like a nice little faded effect. It looks kind of weird on camera, but so now I want to just blend this out so that this hair isn't super long compared to this. I want to just fade it in. So I'm just doing using my comb and just doing clipper over comb and just putting my comb in and pulling out so that I see the clippered area where that ends, and I'm just going to take off that weight right there above the clippered area. So I'll show you from the side. Sometimes it's easier to see. So I'm going in, taking it out, and then I don't know if you can see this weight right here. That's what I'm taking out. I'm just kind of working around, just chipping away at it until it starts to look nice and blended. You want to use a comb that has like a nice large surface area so that it's easy to grip the hair in there. And I'm kind of blending this out here. Taking off some of these little flippies. That's the one here. Into that bottom. see on the camera, but it looks nice and faded. For some reason on the camera, it looks like it's really short down here, but I think that's the lighting, just because you can see more skin. But okay, a little more. Okay, so that's looking nice. So let me grab my trimmer. I'm getting slippery over here. It's like I'm ice skating. Okay, so now I'm gonna just clean it up a little bit more. We're gonna kind of round it. Maybe I'll take it up a tiny bit higher. Here. So I kind of always start with a straight line and then make sure that it looks nice and even, and then I round the corners. So I'm gonna straighten this line. And then I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna go through and I'm just gonna take this, a little bit of this corner off here. And back, I'm doing the same thing on this side. Just gonna go through and just take this corner off. Just to give it that nice looking finish. Okay, let's see. I'm just checking for balance on both sides, making sure we look nice and straight. And then I'm gonna just kind of go through and see if I need to do any other little finishing touches. I see like a little bit more around this ear, maybe on the ear, in the ear. And then I'm gonna wipe that off. I usually have a blow dryer. I do, but it's over there. So we'll kind of wipe. And then I'm gonna take the cape off, and then I'm gonna go upwards when I'm removing the rest of this hair. And I'm gonna take the shirt down so that he can wear any kind of shirt. Like I don't wanna just do what I can see. I wanna make sure I take it down a little bit, not so it's uncomfortable, you know, but enough that when he wears a shirt with maybe a bigger collar, he doesn't have like this ending mark of where the hair stops. So now I'm going upwards and I'm just gonna remove any hair that's still on the neck. And then I come to this side here, and I'm always gonna, there's always like this hair that everyone misses that who shaves, there's like always a patch right here, like the men always miss it. I'm just gonna touch that up a little bit, make sure we got it.
It's true.
Yeah, it's like the spot that's like the blind spot, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then just looking for this hair around this ear. Anything skipped, going in the ear. And then he, at this point, would make a joke about his ear hair, and I would go, ha 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 ha, and I'd do my fake laugh, and then we go around to the other side and clean this up. All right. So we're looking pretty good. Pretty good. What do you think? I know there's so much here. And then I say, good thing we don't charge by the pound, right? And that's, everybody thinks that's funny. And then now I'm going to go and just do the eyebrows a little bit. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
I see some.
Yes.
We're going to have to start parting them if we don't do them soon. So I'm going to just have him turn his head towards me, and I'm just going to pull the hairs out. I still want him to bend because I don't want it to stick straight out. Like, you know, I don't want to keep them too short. I just want to take off the crazy ones. Boom, boom. Okay, and then I'm going to come around the other side and do the other one. Okay, so I'll have you turn towards me a little bit. Okay, so I didn't like change his eyebrows. I just took off some of the wild, crazy ones. So yeah, and then I'm going to just look at his beard. We're not going to take off the beard. He wants to keep the beard, but maybe I'll just kind of do right here if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure.
Do the cheeks, line them up a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're just, I'm just kind of doing this line right here so it looks nice and straight. Making sure this is all straight. Maybe I'll take a little bit, like right here in this corner, to, groom it a little bit. We're not taking any length off of it. Okay. And then, do you want me to do your mustache? Like, do you want me to like clean it up around your lip? Okay, so we're just going to clean up the lip just a little bit, just so we can. And this part is ticklish, so yeah, do your best. So we're just going to go in just like we did the hairline and just stamp it in. And just right around the lip there. Just kind of taking it half. Let me get on the other side here. Over here, okay. And we'll just stamp it in over here. Try to make sure it's nice and even. Just to kind of clean it up. And again, I'm going to do his cheek right here. There's a little bit of hair on his face, so we're just going to take some of that down. But I want to keep in mind the other side, so I can do it evenly. Just going to check. Cleaning up this corner right here. And we're looking proud. Okay, so now we're just going to style it. I'm just going to put a little bit of gel in it. I'm not going to do a lot of styling. He's not going to want to do a lot of styling. Is that okay with you if I style it? So, and then I'm just using a little bit of gel, and we're going to kind of just work it back just to kind of hold it. But we're not doing much. Just finger styling. He's got good curls and stuff, so we're just, let me turn it this way here so you can see. Just gonna kind of,
Movie star stuff.
right? New guy in town. What?
National's gonna be stunned.
Yeah, they're not gonna accept you. So we're just taking that back. All right. What do we think? Ta-da! What do you like? What do you think? Chuck, you can't even see it.
I can't see anything. That's true. Without the glasses.
Although I do see like a little flippy right here. I want to get real quick.
Feels great.
Feels good. And that's really,
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, if it feels good. See these little flippies. This one's right there. Cool. Alrighty. You let me know how that's short enough. And then I'll let you go to the bathroom, and then we can adjust if you want me to adjust it or not. But I'll do Janet before we do any of that. Okay.
No, look at all the little circles down there.
Lots of hair. Lots of hair.
It's going to be a different situation.
Okay. The bottom of the beard has got to be trimmed. It's all separated and looks ratsy. Keep your beard opinions. What? Pause it? Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna do another haircut, but I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna pause it.